If you see them, they sit like that. For some reason, this doesn't want to. Still don't want to. Well, fuck. Anyway, I am here. I picked this time period because my husband's not home. So let's talk about Cassie and Andor. The show has gone back to being boring as fuck. Howdy, just some other guy. The show has gone from starting to get good to, I'm gonna, spoilers, he gets caught, he goes to prison. That's all. There's nothing going on there. You see him being taught how to run a machine with another group of guys. That's it. All right. The Dykes are back. High Cross Element. The Lesbos are back. What does this offer the story? Who fucking cares? It's not like there's going to be children in this relationship. It's not like there's going to be something created out of this. It's just a fuck you to the fans. Okay, get out of that. Luthen leaves Coruscant. Clea shuts off all connection to Blix. And Luthen goes to see Saw Gerrera, and nothing was resolved there. They're in the middle of an argument. Then we get to Mon Mothma, her husband with the douche knot, and, who cares? That's it. That's all that happened. That's it. Okay. Tales of the Jedi. Ahsoka is born, and you see her as a little baby. Her mother, her father. Her mother takes her out hunting, and I love this because it's going to make all the animal rights people nuts. Basically takes her with, she's in a little bag like this, goes hunting, and they fight a big cat. The big cat takes Ahsoka. Ahsoka, as a baby, gets the cat by using the Force unwittingly to bring her back to the village. Very cute, okay. But then we get to my favorite part of the whole thing, meeting Count Dooku and watching his fall. And actually, I've always thought he was not really a villain, but an antagonist. And this just proves it. What a great bunch of stuff going on with Dooku. And then we get, so we go through Count Dooku with Mace Windu, and of course Qui-Gon Jinn as a kid. Dooku starts, basically force chokes a senator. He uses the dark side to find out who murdered a Jedi. And he's not following the rules, and basically tells Mace Windu, I admire you sometimes for how strict you are with the rules. Hey, Morgan. And sometimes I hate it. Okay. There's a man with a lot of conflict. He sees the corruption around him, and he wants to do something about it, and thinks the Jedi Order. Hey, Andrew. I agree. The Jedi Order could actually bring some semblance of order to all this chaos and corruption to the Republic. And he feels like we didn't get to see Yoda. We saw Yoda, but he didn't say anything. So Dooku is challenged by Palpatine. If you want to be my apprentice, you're going to have to kill Yaddle, who followed them to a secret meeting. Dooku eventually does, and he feels bad about it. But he's kind of like a mirror of what happened to Anakin. Anakin kills Dooku. I know I shouldn't do this. It's not the Jedi way. Kind of the same thing. Very cool. Then we get back to Ahsoka training, which I loved Anakin in this so much. I loved seeing them back together. I loved him basically saying, that training isn't real. What I'm going to show you is real. Okay? And she leaves and it's not over. She's got more to do, but she's learning more from him than she is from the Jedi trainers. Okay. Then we get to Padme's funeral, and it was just a nice little vignette, her and Bail Organa. Then we get to the end where she's hiding out in a village, and one of the kids basically betrays her. Yeah, it does. And who was that Inquisitor? That fucking thing was cool. Okay. That would have been an Inquisitor to see in live action. Holy crap. Awesome shit. So I would say, as far as Star Wars goes, Dave Filoni kicked Tony Gilroy's ass. Because Dave Filoni never forgets what Star Wars is about. And Tony Gilroy doesn't give a shit. So now let's talk about the stuff from yesterday and maybe stuff we might be hearing even today. So yesterday, one of my contacts sent me a message, and I'm going to not tell you exactly what he said. He asked a certain person he knows at a studio that is familiar with certain people close to Kathy Kennedy. And he said, basically, the feeling is she's leaving when her contract's up. We don't know how long her contract was. Maybe it was only 2 years. All right. Maybe it was this year and the next year. Okay, we don't know. But the feeling I got, hey Joe, is that there's people, and this is a big studio, this is a big deal. Okay, this is not, somebody that one of the big channels talks to doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. This person works very closely with a colleague of hers and said they don't expect her to be there longer than now, basically. Maybe into Indiana Jones 5 and then it's over, which I think that's the plan. But I do expect an announcement. So I got that and I sent it to Cameron. All of a sudden I get this thing coming from him saying, from his contact inside, there's a big emergency meeting being held today at Lucasfilm. All hands are on deck. When they do that shit, they did that when George sold Lucasfilm to Disney. When they do that shit, there's usually a big announcement. Now, it could be several executives are leaving. People are they're announcing layoffs. I also surmise, because of how it is, that Kennedy is getting ready to announce that she's leaving after Indiana Jones. Now, why? There's so much going on right now. Let's go back and let me refresh your memories. Yeah, Matt Bellany, within the last 2 weeks, publicly going off on her, basically asking why the fuck is she still there. On his podcast, which anybody can listen to, and on puck.com. He was like, well, I was too rough on her. No, you weren't. She needs to hear that. Somebody has to be fucking honest with this bitch, okay? Then we get, as Bellany puts this out on Puck, Damon Lindelof and Chinoy putting out, oh, we're making a movie. And it's everywhere. Deadline, Variety, fucking Hollywood Reporter actually does an inside piece on it. And now we got, but the thing that anybody's talked about this has ignored is that the rumor is, and it's Matt Bellany, so I believe him, is that I really can't stand Andor Carlos, so we're done talking about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. I fucking can't stand the woke shit and how fucking boring it is. Okay? Even if it's a turnabout, make it exciting! Now let me get back to what I was talking about. All right. According to Matt Bellany, and there's no reason not to believe him, Kathleen Kennedy was told she is no longer allowed to talk about movies out there or projects, basically because nothing ever happens with them. No more announcements. So get Lindelof doing this. My theory, and I ran this past Cameron, is that she got screwed over by Lindelof. Okay? Now, it could be she told him to do it, to get it out there before Bellany could say she wasn't allowed to say anything. But I think saving her ego, now, when I look at everything going on, and what we do know is that he fucked her over, okay? And it looks to me, if this emergency meeting is real, no reason not to believe it, that Disney's had enough. Now look, it's the end of October. And it is time. Now, I don't know if we're going to get an announcement of her leaving. But, even Bellany said, expect more executives to leave. That's what he heard. Okay? Now, it's been quiet as a mouse. It is 1, noon, 11, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Okay? It is going to be very interesting if this meeting happened, what is going to happen again. But we have people saying, like Matt Bellany, that we should expect other executives to leave. Will Kennedy announce she's stepping down? Would that be too abrupt? Is there an agreement with her to stay on until Indiana Jones 5 is out? That's what WDW Pro seems to think. Okay. I'm not so sure. She can announce she's stepping down. All right, and basically be president emeritus of Lucasfilm to kind of help smooth over a transition too. So I think we're going to hear within the next week. Okay, I'm going to give it till a little bit after Halloween about her status. Now, her husband was in a film. Hey, Lance. Thank you. Thank you for coming into the chat too. Her husband was at a movie, a film festival in Mexico. So he's like off doing whatever. This is really, watching all this chaos going on, and it looks like chaos to me. Look, not too long ago, I was trolling Paulo Hidalgo on Twitter, and he mocked it. I trolled him again, not a word. Not a fucking word. Okay. So his confidence in being a troll trolling back seems to be a little bit off. So I don't know what to think. We've got this stuff happening. What are we going to get today? Are we going to hear anything? It's Wednesday. Tomorrow and Friday, look, Peter Rice, found out he was done on a Monday. And there are two schools of thought of firing people. You fire them on a Monday, or you fire them on a Friday. But I've seen people get the axe in Hollywood. It doesn't matter what day. Okay, so it's like, do I expect her to be fired? No. I expect her to step down. You know, a lot of people say, well, she doesn't have anything to do. Like, it's going to hinder Disney from telling her to get the fuck out. You didn't do what we told you to. You basically, well, Carlos, no one wanted the job from what I heard. And it was in the middle of a trilogy. Look, this says something about her stewardship at Lucasfilm. The fact, apparently, there was such a chaotic, fucked up place, and they're in the middle of a trilogy that's not doing well. No one wanted the job. Okay, want their names associated with this mess. All right, and I expect somebody like Matt Bellany to get the inside scoop of the last 10 years and put it up so we can hear about it. I actually expect to see a movie. I really, really do. I mean, there was trouble filming or God, what was my point? Now I can't remember. It's just, look, after TFA, they weren't going to offer anybody else a job. They gave her a contract extension. 2015. Made $2.6 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money. Okay, they thought they had a cash cow, but what they did, they killed the golden goose by allowing J.J. Abrams and basically Bob Iger not respecting the fans, the franchise, or George Lucas. Had they done a semblance of George's script treatments with Michael Arndt, with George involved, they would have had something amazing. George saying, no, we don't need to do a desert planet. George saying, we need to do this in a way that something the fans have never seen before. They didn't do anything like that. You know, Alan Horn and that bucket of spit, Bob Iger just looked at Kennedy and said, we should just remake A New Hope. And I think she really wasn't. She spent how many years as co-president of Lucasfilm before the sale? She knew there was books published. She knew all of that. You can't run a business like that and not know everything that's out there that you're doing. So when she said there aren't any books, 800-page books to take, source material, it's like, and I'm sure, Dave Filoni was like, oh, fuck. Because the fans righteously stood up and said, what the fuck are you talking about? You fucking psychopath. Okay? All right? So, it's very interesting to me watching all this happen, and it's very... Oh, yeah, mine too. Mine too. Well, yeah, she has, and that's the thing, and it's look, she's lying here, unless she's so ditzy she couldn't fucking remember. Okay, you have to understand, if you're in that position, we the fans are gonna watch everything you do. We're gonna watch you like hawks, okay? We're gonna fucking watch you, and it just staggers the imagination. It staggers me how she felt like she could get away with that. Or is she so lost she forgot all those authors, all that lore, the hundreds of books? Really? The great, the good, the bad, and the what the fuck of the EU. Okay? And it's just, you know, that just calls to her incompetence. And what she did to George calls to her weakness. She's a weak person. Okay? You know, I almost got into it with a friend of mine who knew both her and Steven Spielberg when she worked for Spielberg. And she was trying to tell me that, oh, Kat, never leaving. She was and this is how cut off she is from what's going on. This person actually told me George signed over Lucasfilm to her. No, and that Disney didn't own it. I'm like, on October 31st, 2012, George Lucas signed over Lucasfilm to Disney. Therefore, Disney owns it. Kathy Kennedy came in as president. She was supposed to be president until they found someone to run it. Okay? And she did such a swell job with TFA that they gave her the job. Kathy. Well, look, there are people out there who really aren't interested in this stuff. All right? They really aren't. Okay. Now, this woman was there. God, she was on the set of Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Okay. And she's got some funny stories about Sean Connery. Hey, Silver Steve. She really does. I mean, Sean Connery was just funny as fuck. Okay. You know, Harrison Ford kind of, I mean, look, what a lot of people don't understand, he's very introverted. I mean, if you ever watch The Roast of Him by Carrie Fisher, she quotes Silent Night, Holy Night, because he doesn't say a word. He's quiet. He's introverted. He's kind of shy, okay? And he's one of those guys that yeah, I think he did. You're right. He's one of those guys that, you know, you could probably sit with and not have to speak anything to. You're just hanging out with him. All right. Very quiet guy. You know, and I think a lot of people misinterpret it as him being rude. Like, her story was when he would come to the offices, Ford would go into Spielberg's office and then go all the way to the back so no one could see him. He didn't want people ogling him. Okay? And I understand that. You know, I would have done the same thing. I would have sat around where you couldn't see me just because, leave me alone. Okay. So I think a lot of his, the bad attitude some people have, not all, because people that have worked with him closely love him. You know, they just don't understand that he's very introverted, like way more introverted than my husband. Okay. Which is saying a lot. So, you know, where was I going with this? So this person worked on Last Crusade. She's one of the people that was an associate producer on that. So the stories about that are great. I love it. You know, these are experiences that you just can't, that if you're lucky to have been able to be there when history is being made, it's something really great history, not a lot of the history I saw being made. I mean, the creation of the Homeland Security Agents Department, 9/11, you know, the 2000 election. Okay, lived through it, realized that I was not a campaigner. I could do politics on the Hill and stuff, but don't get me out on the road because it'll kill me. All right, it would have killed me. I would have had a heart attack, even in decent shape. It was just too much. You know, so these are the things you got to appreciate, but you also got to remember that sometimes people are so disillusioned by the industry they got into that they're not interested in what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They're not up on everything. So, it's okay. It's okay. But, Kennedy was perfectly nice and she worked closely with Spielberg and la la la. Yeah, and she worked closely with George Lucas, la la la. And she still did not keep her promise to George. She promised George that she would not let anything happen to Star Wars. What happened? Why? It is not that Kathy Kennedy didn't want to keep her promises. Iger and Horn intimidated the fuck out of her. And she decided, hell with it. And then she realized once she got the job, she could do whatever she wanted. So she hired the All Chicks Club. Well, she didn't. And the thing about it is, I don't know if I should hate her because she's weak. And she didn't stand up for her friend and didn't stand up for the promise she made and she broke her promise. Or if she realized her dream of having an all-girl studio and all this feminist fucking bullshit was actually going to be a reality, and she could use Star Wars as a soapbox to preach inclusiveness and stuff. And we saw what happened. Bullshit happened. Okay? So, this is where we are right now. Okay? And today, it is 10:16 in the morning now. I don't know if there's, maybe the meeting's already happened. Normally, when you get there, you got to go to the meeting. You get there in the morning at 8. I don't like the 9 o'clock, 9 to 5 shit. I worked 8 to 6 every day. All right, I was on a salary, so it didn't matter. But when I worked for Army, I worked 8 to 6. I got there at 8 o'clock in the morning, got all my stuff ready. So when everybody came in, I was there doing stuff, Capitol Hill tours and dealing with constituents and people who would call up who didn't quite know how their government, the legislative branch ran, and would call up to complain, which is always fun. I don't miss that at all. So, I don't know what this is, what's going on here. I mean, let's look on Twitter. Nothing. I don't see anything at all. Kathy Hochul. I might actually go as her for Halloween. But I don't see anything. Maybe there's something in the mail. It's just, now it's a waiting game. Now we wait. Now we see what's going to happen. But the fact of the matter is, we do have, I think, solid evidence that something is happening with Lucasfilm. And, look, James Gunn went to DC Comics. That takes Jon Favreau off for them. I'm going to say it again. I think he's going to be the next head of Lucasfilm. Somebody like that has to come in, and he is the only name I can think of. All right. That'll piss off a lot of the diehard people who think he's just using the EU and shit. But really, even if you took the books, you couldn't adapt them straight to anything anyway. So when someone starts bitching about they're just cherry picking the EU, the show is still good, but Well, yeah, and I'm like yesterday, I was frustrated. I mean, I think after 2018, that was far. She went far enough. She should have been allowed to finish the trilogy with somebody else ready to step in to take over. Okay, that's when that should have happened. Not now. Not now. Not when you get to the Mandalorian and things starts to go up, especially way up after Luke shows up. And it doesn't help that the names of people we know just bitched about everything, and they have way too much influence. YouTube people that go onto YouTube gotta start thinking for themselves. Don't let the big channels tell you what to think about anything. If you liked Kenobi, tell Ryan Cannell straight to his face. That's fine. You can swear an oath of allegiance on Crystal Star. Okay. But I liked Kenobi. It was a good show. It wasn't anti-Star Wars. It didn't break canon. So don't tell people what to think anymore. That's the problem. It's your opinion. Yeah, and you're looking at these people saying, but you act like your opinion is the only thing that counts. Who the fuck are you, Miranda Priestley? These people didn't earn, I think, their spot in being the gurus of pop culture. They're merely just like us with a large following of people who have been so hurt that they've conformed instead of going, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch that and make up my own fucking mind. Okay? Now, do I like Andor? No, I don't. If you're going to do a slow turn, fucking make it exciting. Okay? Why don't you make it a story within a story? And yeah, I think Sci-Fi Universe is right that Kennedy's time is growing short. But we need now is confirmation, and I wait now just for anything coming out about if the meeting took place. If this meeting took place, it is time for Disney to say enough is enough. Okay? Do it for the fans. Do it for the people that Lucasfilm has basically hurt badly. Okay? That's what this is about. It's about us, ultimately. And thinking back on Kennedy, she has spent the last 5 years worrying about her own reputation and her own ego. Meanwhile, Star Wars suffers. The fans are not happy. The people who work for her are not happy. You can't be happy if you're constantly trying to tell people to shut the fuck up and bullying them off of Twitter. You can't. That is not a mark of a happy person. Disney can't fucking be happy at all. Okay? They can't be. You've got all of Hollywood. Matt Bellany, whether you like it or not, is there in Hollywood. I mean, he could talk to Alan Horn right now. He could call up Bob Chapek. He could call up Jon Favreau, he could call up any of these guys. They would take his call, okay? Is saying what everybody is saying in Hollywood. She is fucked up. She fucked up Lucasfilm. It was a slam dunk. Here are George's scripts. Get Michael Arndt to work on them. Do a collaboration if they're not quite whatever. And it's like, you know, they didn't do it. They thought they knew better. Now, look, I told another YouTuber, someone I really respect a lot, it is not the money they invested. It is the money they lost. Okay? They didn't even recoup their investment, despite what Matt Bellany said. Okay? Because look, people in Hollywood, even if they're semi-honest, will never give you the real numbers. $6 billion is a fairy tale. It is a fake number. Anything that's gross box office or gross profit is fake. It's fucking fake. All right. What does Disney get to take home? Cut that maybe by 2/3. Okay. Because everybody that's been part of this has got to take their money bar, their money. They gotta get they gotta get paid too. Okay. Then you got taxes, fees, you know, the licensees paying for things, but you know, Disney's gotta pay for shit too. Okay. So it is not a proposition to make money if you're making movies. And especially it's not if I know that Sci-Fi Universe. I imagine they are. It is okay. What was I going to say? It isn't making movies is not a place where you're going to make a lot of money. It used to be, all right, with big franchises where you are going to spend $225 million on a movie, you know, and then add 100 and, you know what, 35, 40 to market it, add that to how much it costs to make a movie. At least that's the way they used to do it. And then, okay, and when you hire somebody like J.J. Abrams, who brings in Bad Robot, insists that they get, hey, General Grievous, that they get a paycheck too. Where, here's the deal, okay? Bad Robot came in making TFA with the strict, oh yes, Tales of the Jedi was fucking awesome. It was great. With the idea that they were going to be able to market their own merchandise. That's why you get that stupid rectangular thing on the Falcon. And you get 3PO's red arm. Okay? And then instead of seeing R2-D2, you get fucking BB-8. Or in The Rise of Skywalker, the rolling hairdryer. Okay? And they don't do a good enough job with the story to make it worth. Look, making a deal with Bad Robot, it's not worth it for a company like Disney. Okay, it's not worth it for Amazon, Paramount, at all. Warner Brothers, anybody. I mean, David Zaslav is like, we're not working with you. It's over. Okay, JJ's swirling the drain right now because of the scams he's pulled. And they are scams. They are fucking scams. Who, you know, I was sitting there one day after Andre or Tom or somebody on Minute said, explain how Bad Robot works. Okay. And I was like, who the fuck does he think he is? He being J.J. Abrams. This is part of the problem, okay? Disney and Kathy Kennedy, when they were looking for a director, when they were looking at him being a director, he's weak, or he appears weak. All right, JJ is a politician. Oh yes, I'll do everything you want, but can I bring my company in to make it so we can market merchandise? They make money. Disney didn't make as money as much as they should have. Okay, you know, let it go, guys. No, we're not talking about that. Just some other guy, let it go. Sci-fi universe, no, no, no. Okay. This is, but it's part of the problem. It's part of the problem now across Hollywood because everywhere JJ goes, he drops his little minions who fuck up. Michelle Ridgewand, gone. What other executives are going to follow her out the door? Maybe today. Okay, maybe today. All right? We just don't know. Anyway, I am going to cut this short. Here, for everybody who came in late, this is the, this is the quick review of Andor. If they're going to do a slow burn finale, they need to make each episode exciting. It wasn't. The fuck? Okay? I don't give a shit about Andor in prison. I don't give a shit about Andor. The lesbians gotta go. I'm done. No more of that representation shit. In Star Wars, this is not the LGBTQ plus fuck you community's fucking soapbox. Goddamn groomers. There's nothing romantic about that. Nothing. It's disgusting. It's gross. Okay? I'd like to know more about Luthen Rawl. That story didn't go anywhere. Okay? Mon Mothma's story is not going anywhere. This whole story. This is Ambien. You could take this and fall asleep for 8 hours. That's how fucking slow it is. Then we get to Tales of the Jedi. That's Star Wars. That is fucking Star Wars. It is not woke. It is not preachy. It is a good fucking group of stories, okay, which I plan on watching again, okay? Maybe when I'm, putting my Christmas trees up, all right? I'll have it on in the background and watch it. Or when I'm cleaning the house, just turning it on, all right? That's how good it was. That's how fucking good it was. All right. Now we got this Lucasfilm mess going on. We'll have to see. It is 10:32 on the West Coast. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.